Hi, it's Amanda with Always in Love. We're here with another review. This time we're doing Sweet Addiction by Jay Daniels. And Natasha and I are here, but we also have a special guest with us. One, Robyn Crawford, is here to talk about audiobook adventures. She's going to talk to us a little bit about this book and then what she thought about the audio. And hopefully she will be joining us periodically to discuss different audiobooks and what she thought of them, that kind of stuff. So it should be pretty fun. We're going to start. Natasha's going to tell you a little bit about the book.
So this Sweet Addiction, and it's by Jay Daniels. This was actually her first book. This was written in September of 2014. And I'm kind of late to the game. I'm a late bloomer. Amanda read this book like back when it came out, and then I'm just late to the game. So this is a story about Reese and Dylan. Dylan is a baker, and she's asked to bake a cake for her former boyfriend's wedding. Kind of weird. As she goes to the wedding, she delivers the cake. She has to go in to the wedding, and she's kind of hesitant about walking down the same aisle as the bride. So she decides to go around to the side. And as she's walking in, trying to get into the crowd to where she needs to sit, she ends up tripping and falling into the lap of Mr. Reese. And Mr. Reese is kind of this, just the way she described how she landed on his lap, sounds like this huge, massive of a man. And she just leaves it at that. They go to the reception, and her friend, who is the wedding coordinator, ends up introducing her to her new boyfriend, who happens to be friends with Reese. It was all this friendship kind of correlates around each other. There's a lot of friends in this whole entire book. It's kind of like a family of friends. And they kind of they hit it instant off. They have the wedding romp, is what I call it, and they go separate ways. But why they go separate ways is because Dylan told that Reese is married. And that just crushes Dylan, because she's just doesn't do that stuff. She leaves the wedding. A couple days later, she's at her bakery. She's talking to her very flamboyant best friend, Joey. Joey's like, come on, be the secret mistress. It's going to be fun. You should have fun. And Dylan's not going to have anything to do with that. And Jewel shows up, and Jewel kind of goes, tells her she's going to go visit her boyfriend. And Dylan decides that she's going to go visit Reese at his office and give him a piece of her. Well, this is where I fell in love with Dylan, because she can slap the best of men around. I think it's like the slap that's heard around the world. And she finds out that he is not married. And so this is where the communication of their relationship kind of gets muffled throughout it. And these guys go through their relationship. They do end up, kind of going through some different spats. And I swear Dylan has a hand of God right there. She knows when to pop it to the right man. And they kind of just go through this whole relationship. And Reese is the alpha male that he kind of lets her think she's in charge, but at times he's really in charge. He has a way with his words and how he can make her feel completely not in control and let him take control. What do you think, Amanda?
So, first impressions of Reese Carroll. He's this big, broad, beautiful guy that really doesn't say much. He kind of knows what he wants. He goes after it. And you're right, he's kind of this alpha male that doesn't have to be bossy or anything. He doesn't strong arm you. He just kind of like leads you in the right direction. So that was kind of one of my favorite things about Reese. And when he does speak, you should listen, because he usually says a lot of pretty amazing things in this book. He was one of my favorite characters in the book. It really made it. And then, of course, Dylan, the little Spitfire who does and says whatever. She's really great. But Reese Carroll is the book boyfriend. He really made this book. Like, everything, the way that he was written, everything about him. He was this big, strong alpha male, but he didn't have problems being sweet or saying sweet things or being romantic. And it was really refreshing to kind of see that when I read this book. What were your first impressions, Robyn, Natasha, either one?
I loved this book. I loved the characters. Reese was just kind of everything that you want in a book boyfriend, just as you said. He was was dominant when he needed to be. He was smart. He was sensitive to Dylan when she needed him to be. He embraced her friends, which I loved. You know, there was nothing that they could have done to sort of run him off, and he really kind of came into that family for her. And yeah, he's pretty special. And Dylan, like I want to be Dylan. I want to make cakes and cupcakes and cookies the way she does. And I want to be able to speak my mind and be that sort of confident. So she was a really special, strong character, which I love. I love when we have independent, strong women who choose to bring these men into their lives. She was wonderful.
And I think that's why she just resonated with me, because she was not afraid to tell Reese what she thought. And then Reese he accepted her for who she is, and he liked that spitfire in her. And I think he almost enjoyed just trying to get it to go off. Like he was waiting for her to give him what she wanted. And there's just, he made me feel good, especially when he took the phone from her and started having the conversation with with her mother. And she's just like, oh, now my mother's planning this wedding and I don't even want a wedding. And it was just cute that Reese didn't care. He was just going to take charge, but also still let Dylan have her identity. He really still made sure she had her identity. He was not a controlling type of person, even though he was an alpha male. I don't know, he had a lot of swooning moments. Wouldn't you agree, Amanda?
Oh yeah, definitely. He had a lot of swooning moments. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting things that happen in this book. That, like you said, the wedding romp. There's the icing. There's all kinds of things. If you have not read this book, yeah, definitely. There's Arctic Monkey song. There's all kinds of fun things that really kind of set this book apart from everyone else. But one of my top things is her friends. You said they were like family. So we have Jules, her best friend, and then Jules' boyfriend Ian, who's Reese's best friend. And then we also have the guy that works with her, Joey. And Joey is responsible for my favorite line, and I actually use it in everyday life all the time. I say, "God damn it, Billy," like all the time for no reason. Just like people have no idea. But anything like, what the hell? I say it like all the time. But just the characters in the background really added to the story. Sometimes, they take away, but these guys, they really enhance the story. So I really love the other characters. Did you have any favorite parts or anything for the rest of the book?
Well, there's a couple of, throughout the book, there's a lot of great things. And I have two of them. And one is the frosting incident. And whenever I go into a bakery, I will always wonder what's going on that surface. But the frosting is probably it was extremely sensual. And then for the ways that she described it and the way Reese used the frosting, he can be an artist any day in my eyes. And I really appreciate that. But probably one of my favorite lines is, Reese said this, and he goes, 122 days, that's how long I loved you. And I think that right there just showed how much he cared for Dylan, and she just didn't know it. And I think that's why I love this book, and I've listened to it, and then I read it, and then I also did the audio. And so, Robyn, what do you think, like as an audio, and what was it for you?
So it was interesting because the audio was a single narrator audio. Piper Goody narrated. So she obviously did the voice of all the characters, and she did a brilliant job of bringing Reese's voice through the story. Of course, she did a magnificent job with Dylan, and she really carried in the emotion, sometimes the confusion that they were both feeling about where their relationship started, what they were wanting, what they were expecting, and where it sort of led to. And you could feel as their relationship grew, she really brought that emotion through. And so I actually did the opposite of what you did. I started this on audio, and I picked it up every now and then by reading when I could, but I really primarily listened to the entire series in audio, and she was just magnificent and really brought that emotion through. So when I would read, it was her voice that I was hearing, and it enhanced the story for me completely. So it was a great experience to have that while reading, but then going back to the audio with Whisper Sync from Amazon. I loved that part.
Yeah, it was great. There's a lot of, like you mentioned, there's another book for Reese and Dylan. And then it also ties in with her other series, the Alabama Boys. And they're the third book. Her friend Brooke, Jules' sister, gets a book in the series. So we definitely encourage you to check out other Daniels works, other audiobooks. We really loved the audiobook for this one, both of them. It was just a lot of fun to read, a lot of different characters, a lot of different personalities in these books. So it was very appealing for pretty much everybody. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
No, I would, again, like the whole Friends, usually when you read books and the Friends, you feel like it takes away from the storyline. And I really appreciated that Jules and Ian's story was really good, and Billy and Joey's story. It just kind of added flavor to the series. If you don't just read one, I would read the whole series. The whole series was really good because it incorporated everybody, and you just felt like you're reading a family history with a lot of laughter, a lot of food, and just a lot of great one-lining moments. As like Amanda had said, there's some good things in the book that I'm kind of grateful I stumbled across it. I'm kind of a newbie at it, but Amanda said, "Hey, you got to read this book," and I've read it twice now because of it. So great book, boyfriend. Anything for you, Robyn?
I think I would say for anyone who has not yet started an audiobook, or maybe they've been a little nervous about going to audio, this is a really great series to start with. It's fun, it's sexy, it will keep you entertained. Piper Goody does the narration for the first two books, and she's magnificent. If you continue through the series and you read Sweet Obsession, which is the third book, Jaya Harding and Holly Chandler, holy cow, they too are amazing. So I really think that this is a great starter series for anyone who's contemplating making the transition to audio while they're also reading. Really great series to start with. Super great stories. Love them.
Well, thank you for joining us, Robyn. We appreciate your review of the audio. We talk about them a lot, but it's great to have somebody here that is very familiar with a lot of the stuff as you are. Find out more about J. Daniels, her books and series, and the audio books, and hopefully some more information about Robyn and what's coming soon. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.